Today we will learn about how to balance a chemical equation. Write down your given equation. For this example, you will use this. This reaction occurs when propane is burned in the presence of oxygen to produce water and carbon dioxide. Number 2. Write down the number of atoms per element. Do this for each side of the equation. Look at the subscripts next to each atom to find the number of atoms in the equation. When writing it out, it's a good idea to connect it back to the original equation, noting how each element appears. For example, you have 3 oxygen atoms on the right side, but that total results from addition. Left side, 3 carbon, 8 hydrogen and 2 oxygen. Right side, 1 carbon, 2 hydrogen and 3 oxygen. Number 3. Save hydrogen and oxygen for last, as they are often on both sides. Hydrogen and oxygen are both common in molecules, so it's likely that you will have them on both sides of your equation. It's best to balance them last. You will need to recount your atoms before balancing the hydrogen and oxygen, as you will likely need to use coefficients to balance the other atoms in the equation. Number 4. Start with single elements. If you have more than one element left to balance, select the element that appears in only a single molecule of reactants and in only a single molecule of products. This means that you will need to balance the carbon atoms first. Number 5. Use a coefficient to balance the single carbon atom. Add a coefficient to the single carbon atom on the right side of the equation to balance it with the 3 carbon atoms on the left side of the equation. The coefficient 3 in front of carbon on the right side indicates 3 carbon atoms, just as the subscript 3 on the left side indicates 3 carbon atoms. In a chemical equation, you can change coefficients, but you must never alter the subscripts. Number 6. Balance the hydrogen atom next. Since you have balanced all atoms besides the hydrogen and oxygen, you can address the hydrogen atoms. You have 8 on the left side, so you will need 8 on the right side. Use a coefficient to achieve this. On the right side, you now added 4 as the coefficient because the subscript showed that you already had 2 hydrogen atoms. When you multiply the coefficient 4 times by the subscript 2, you end up with 8. Number 7. Balance the oxygen atoms. Remember to account for the coefficient that you have used to balance out the other atoms, because you have added coefficients to the molecules on the right side of the equation. The number of oxygen atoms has changed. You now have 4 oxygen atoms in the water molecules and 6 oxygen atoms in the carbon dioxide molecules. That makes a total of 10 oxygen atoms. Add a coefficient of 5 to the oxygen molecule on the left side of the equation. You now have 10 oxygen atoms on each side. The carbon, hydrogen, oxygen atoms are balanced. Your equation is complete. The other 6 atoms of oxygen come from 3 CO2.